Said this week we are going to go ahead and use, like I said, those same exercises. We are going to kick up the reps this week. So if you're not quite there yet and you want to still work at reps of 5, if you want to maybe meet in between and do reps of 8, that's fine. I am going to go ahead and call out and keep us on reps of 10. Sometimes in some of these, like in the squat series, we're going to alternate and do 5, 5, 5, 5. So we will get 10 in the reps, but the way that we're going to break it up might be in groups of 5, but altogether, that's what we're going to work on. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to actually end out today's class with our front belt stretches, so a kind of like a cool down and really getting a nice deep tissue massage after we work up and fire up our lower half. So we're going to start today with our Houdini stretch. We're going to actually open up our hearts, open up our shoulders, and just get a nice good stretch here to start. So we're going to stand in front of our hammocks here, opening up our arms nice and wide, rolling our shoulders back as we do so. So we want to make sure that our shoulders aren't up in our ears here. We want to keep them nice down our back so that our shoulder blades are gently falling together here. So we're going to open up our arms nice and wide, turn the palms to the back of the room, start to reach to the back of the room with both hands, and then we're going to take our hands and dive them back through towards our hips. So we're going to have little jazz hands or spirit fingers here. Now, keeping the hammock low, meaning below the elbow, between the elbow and the wrist, we're going to go ahead and double wrap each hand once again, or each wrist. So you're going to go ahead and turn that hand towards the back of the room, roll it back in towards the body to where you should be able to clasp your hands together behind your back. I will over exaggerate since I haven't done this stretch here in our classes yet. Do not let that hammock go above your elbow. You can cause damage when you're trying to extend, maybe a little bit too much tightness, you might pull something. So we want to avoid injury at all costs. So make sure that when you start and you go and dive your hands back and through, we keep them low. So you don't want to go up. A lot of times our natural instinct is to reach back here. We want to keep those shoulders back low, arms low here, big open palms to the back of the room, and then dive those hands back through, jazz hands, spirit fingers, and keeping those elbows bent will help to keep the hammock or the fabric here lower below the elbows. Roll them back in one at a time. High five those hands together, clasp those hands together now here. Soften up the elbows once again. Just a reminder, soften up those shoulders. Let's give them a little wiggle, a little loosey-goosey shake here. Now facing the front of the room here, we're going to slowly start to walk forward, deepening the breath. So as you inhale, drawing a nice big breath in through the chest, through the belly, softening those shoulders, softening those arms once again here. Now as you walk forward, allow the hammock or the fabric to pull your arms back here, and you want to come to front tension, to that point of resistance where your body says, okay, that's enough. And we're going to stop there. At any point in time, you can take it back a step if it gets too intense. You can take it forward a step if you want a little bit more of a stretch here. So starting here with our feet grounded at front tension, facing forward, roll those shoulders back. Allow the shoulder blades to naturally squeeze together by your arms being pulled back. Chin is slightly higher here, and take a big breath in. As you exhale, slowly allow the body to melt forward. Keep those feet grounded. Chin comes to chest, and slowly allow the crown of the head to gently lean towards the front of the room. Maybe your body now is in a little bit of a diagonal here, a little lean. Go ahead and take a breath into this. With each exhale, softening the shoulders a little bit more here. Now, if this is where you're at today, go ahead and stay here. This is a progressive base stretch, so you can stop at any point. You can go back at any point and taking it to the step before, whatever feels good to your body. We're going to go ahead now. If you want to take it to the next step, bend that right knee, send that right foot back for a lunge here. Once you get into your lunge position, you can always shimmy that back leg, that right leg back, or you can scoot that forward leg, that left leg forward. You want to make sure that your left knee is bent and over the ankle right now here. Keeping the chest forward, chin up, shoulders back. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, draw your gaze up towards the corner ceiling and start to melt your hips down towards the ground or the mat. Monitor your resistance here in the body, taking deep breaths into the tightness that you may be feeling here in the arms, shoulders, and legs. And as you exhale this time, let's allow the crown of the head to melt forward. Chin comes to chest here. And once again, as you exhale, allow those hips to sink down towards the ground. Now you can stay here if this feels good for you. If you want to take it to the next step, take a big breath in, and as you exhale, go ahead and step that left foot back to meet with the right foot. Keeping high off of both heels, body is in one nice long straight line in a plank pose. This is our skier position or ski jumper position. Take a big breath in here. Nice tight core, keep the body in a straight line, no slouchy hips, and try not to lift the hips up high. Go ahead and bend both knees. Drop your hips onto your heels here. Tuck the chin into the chest, the nose comes into the knees, and ignore those tinglies you're feeling in your hands. We will be allowing that blood flow back through the hands here shortly. Either way, take a big breath here at your swim start. As you exhale, go ahead and shoot the crown of the head forward towards the front of the room. Once again, straightening, lengthening the body. And this time we're going to step forward with that right foot coming into our right lunge. Go ahead and shimmy the feet here where you need, and make sure the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. We're going to start off by rounding that gaze forward. Shoulders are soft. Allow them to be pulled back. Chest forward, chin up. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, keep that chin up. Allow those hips to sink down towards the ground. Another big inhale. This time as you exhale, sinking those hips even further. Allow the chin to come to the chest, bowing the crown of the head forward. One more big breath in here. And as you exhale, you can either step or walk that back leg, left leg forward to meet with your right. Either way, once you're forward here with both feet, start to slowly walk back to your center point, allowing the softness of the hammock here around your wrists. Release those hands and gently unravel both arms. You should feel a rush of tingling in your fingers, in your wrists, in your arms. Go ahead and circle out the wrists, wiggle out the fingers, shake out the hands, move the elbows, shimmy the shoulders. Maybe roll the shoulders back a few times. Stopping and then rolling the shoulders forward a few times here. Shoulders up to earlobes. One more big breath in here. And as you exhale, coming back to soft stillness, we're going to walk to the back side of our hammock. We're going to go into our 180 leg stretch here. Go ahead, standing under your center point, we're going to trap our right leg, right knee in stag. Reach up high on that hammock, grabbing onto all that hammock here. We're going to hop forward so that our standing foot and body is underneath our plumb line or underneath our center point here. So you want to make sure for our first stretch, toes stay forward, heel stays glued to the mat. Go ahead and point the right toe here so that they're pressing down towards the mat. Active engagement here throughout the legs. Once again, reaching up high, big breath in. As you exhale, start to melt forward, driving this motion with the right knee, pressing towards the front of the room here. Remember, we're going to keep our hips squared forward, so keeping in mind that headlight analogy, just like a car, the headlights can't move right to left. We always want to make sure that we readjust if we find that we're off center here. So with that knee pressed forward, we're going to start off with some pulses here, pressing forward with the hips. We're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, make sure you're really pressing forward and down with the hips and pelvic bone. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pressing forward here, we're going to hold. You can draw your hands down a little bit, bending the elbows, bringing the hands a little bit higher than the crown of the head or wherever feels comfortable for your balance. Either way, as you press down and forward, if you'd like to get more of a stretch, remember you can take the hammock material here, pull it back towards your shoulder, drawing that right thigh or quad up towards your chest. You can always press your chest down a little bit further towards your thigh as well. Big breath in here wherever you're at. Remember, keep that heel down on the ground for now. Inhale. As you exhale, let's go ahead straight from here. Lift that left heel high off of the mat and start to press those hips down and forward a little bit farther. We're going to pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 7. Don't forget your breath. Keep nice deep inhales and exhales, drawing them down to the lower half of the body here for 3, 2, 1. Press forward here, keeping that right foot nice and pointed, not flex, pointed, toes driving down towards the ground here. Once again, you can pull the hammock back towards your chest, towards your shoulders. Big inhale wherever you're at. Exhale, let's go ahead and draw that left heel back down to the ground. We're going to go ahead and turn the left foot out now so that the toes are diagonal to the room. And we're going to take our right foot, trapping the arch into the hammock here, reaching up nice and high in the hammock. Go ahead and extend that right leg forward. Remember, this is where we usually lose those forward or those squared hips. So draw the right hip back, keep that left hip pushed forward, reaching up nice and high to start, and keep the left heel down on the mat. We're going to lean forward here, keeping those right toes pointed. Start to pulse forward to the front of the room for 10, 9, 8, 7. Remember, big breaths here. Bring that breath all the way to the back of the hamstrings, behind the knees, all the way up the back of the thigh to the glutes here for 3. Press it forward. 2, draw your hip back on the right side. 1, and we're going to settle into this pose here, driving those right pointed toes towards the front of the room, really pressing that pelvic bone down and forward here. Nice heavy hips, big breath. And now straight from this point here, if you can, go ahead and lift up that left heel once again. We're going to lean forward, keeping those hips squared forward. And remember to keep this balance here. We're going to bend the opposite arm. So in this situation, we have that right foot trapped. We're going to bend that left arm, keep the right arm nice and straight. Let's pulse forward here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's settle here. Try to find that balance and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that left heel down. Let's bend our right knee back to center. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add in a little stretch we didn't have last week. We're going to open up into a straddle stretch. So we're going to trap our right ankle here. Grab onto all that hammock like a rope with the right hand, and we're going to hop to the left side of where our hammock hangs at center here, and we're going to turn that right leg out to the side here. So same thing, hips are forward, grabbing onto all that hammock like a rope with the right hand. Take that left hand, big open palm. We're going to grab onto the hammock above the right hand, pinkies up, thumbs down. Take that right hand, draw it all the way down to the ankle, creating a cuff around your ankle with that hammock. Keep that left shoulder back. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, slowly start to lean towards the right. Breathing into this stretch here. If you find you have any tension here towards the knee area on your standing leg, go ahead and adjust your standing foot. Sometimes turning it out can be helpful, or if it's too turned out, go ahead and turn those toes back in. Always monitor your own resistance and be mindful of the body. You know the difference between a good discomfort and a pain, so you always want to monitor that. So go ahead and leaning to the right here. To get a little extra stretch, you can take that right hand that's holding onto that cuff around the ankle and extend that right arm, pressing that right cuff away here. Make sure you can see this. And then you can take that left arm that's nice and high, pull that hammock down here a little bit towards your body, bending that left elbow. Either way, draw that left shoulder back. Keep the hips forward. We can pulse a few times here. We're just going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come back here to center. And bending our knee, we'll drop that right foot down to the ground. Let's switch it up, coming back to center here. Trapping and sagging that left knee, pointing the left toes down, reach up nice and high, hop to center, toes forward on your standing foot, and keep that heel down glued. Leaning forward with our left knee, we're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, really melt and press forward with that last one. Holding here, keeping that heel down with the right foot, really pressing down and forward with those pelvic bones and hips. Big breath in. And as you exhale, straight from here, lift that right heel up off the ground and lean forward. We're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press it forward here. Nice big breath. Remember, you can always pull that hammock back towards your shoulders, drawing your quads closer to your chest. You can bow your crown forward, chin to chest here, really leaning the chest in towards the thigh. Either way, take one more big full breath in. And as you exhale, drop that right heel, come back to center. I do want to add, there is one more point. If you start to really feel that in this next stretch where we trap our arch, you really are losing control of your standing position and your balance. I know for me, my left side, I have to work a lot harder on to keep the balance than the right. You can always hop out that standing foot a little bit farther. So maybe instead of being directly underneath with your standing foot, now you're bringing that standing foot under where the right side of your fabric hangs. Either way here, we're going to go ahead and trap that left arch. Reach up nice and high to start. Turn your toes out on the right foot. Keep your heel glued to the ground. And let's lean forward here. Starting off by drawing that left hip back and keeping that right hip pressed forward for our headlights. We're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in here as you hold. Remember, we can pull back with that fabric, lifting that left foot. Big inhale, full complete exhale. One more time, big breath in. And exhale. You can go ahead and lift your standing heel right from here, or if you'd like and you feel more comfortable, you can always bring it back to center, lift the heel from here, and then ease back forward. Pull that left hip back, right hip goes forward. Let's pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yes, shake from this side. So it's very normal to have two completely different reactions sometimes with our body on some side, or with some things. And 1, let's go ahead, melt into this pose, holding here. Remember, drawing the opposite arm back if we'd like a little more help with our balance, especially when we're up off of our heels. And big inhale, full exhale as you drop your right heel, bend that left knee. And we're going to go ahead, trap the left ankle here, grab onto all that hammock and hop to the right side of your center point. Holding on with that left hand to all of that hammock like a rope, grabbing onto all of that hammock with the right hand above, pinkies up, thumbs down, glide that left hand down to create your cuff around your ankle. We're going to lean to the left here. Once again, keeping those hips forward, draw your right shoulder back now. Gaze forward, chin up. Let's start to pulse to the left for 10, or for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold here. Again, you can press that left arm out and pull that right arm back if you'd like a little extra stretch here throughout that inner upper thigh on the left side. One more big inhale and exhale. Slowly come back to center. And we're going to bend our left knee and drop that foot out. I'm going to go ahead, if you'd like to grab a sip of water or grab your water, bring it close to the hammock if you don't have it. Let's go ahead and do that now. All right. Like I mentioned, we're going to use our front belt stretches at the end of class for this class for our cool down. So we are going to use our front belt conditioning exercises, or a few of them, to get us warmed up before we start our squat series today. So starting at the back side of the hammock, we're going to get into our front belt to float. And while we do our conditioning exercises, we're going to be focusing on the exercises that connection went out, that really need to use or utilize that lower core, which is all of it, but the glutes and that upper thigh in order to lift our legs here. Remember, we're lifting from our glutes, from the top of our thighs, our lower core or our lower back, and the tops of our glutes here. So we're really activating this whole area in order to lift our legs here. So over exaggerating all of that. Remember, 110%. So we're going to come to that back side of the hammock, come into your front belt floated position, making sure that your hips are locked into position here. As always, you can keep your hands down towards the mat, or if you still need a little extra assistance for that core, let's go ahead. You can grab on by the sides of your hips. Do try to challenge yourself, and as we do some of these exercises, maybe let go of one hand, keep one off close to where you can grab if you need to, if you start to feel that chest down, but to start to really challenge yourself if you still find you need that assist. With that being said, we're going to start off with alternating leg lifts. So we want to make sure those toes are pointed right now. Everything is engaged for me from my core in the front, belly into spine, lower core all the way down to my heels and through to my toes here. So we're going to start off with lifting our right leg. We're going to do 5 on both sides, and we're going to go ahead and start off in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, lift and squeeze. Drop and kiss the toe, lift that left, drop and kiss the ground, and right up. Left up for 3, right, down, 3, left, down, and 2, 2, and 1. 1. From here, we're going to go ahead and do 10 of our straddle ups here. So we're going to take our toes, driving up with our heels. We're going to lift our toes, both of them in a straddle off of the ground, and we're going to pop them out, bring them in, kiss them down. We're going to do 10 of those. Ready? Lift them up, out, in, down, up, out, in, down for 7. Make sure you're squeezing here. 6, really activating the side glutes 2 as you press out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring them back down. This time we're going to float for the full 10 count. We're going to lift our legs in that straddle and pop them, pulse them out for a 10 count. Let's go ahead and start. Lift those toes, engaging the glutes. Pop them out, pulse it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down. Now here for our final one, we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring our toes in line with our body here. Turn the soles of the feet towards one another. We're going to lift our legs and flutter kick, batu, or swim your feet, whatever you want to call it, keeping them floated for 10 count. So we're going to go ahead and lift. Let's go ahead and start crossing those feet over for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop them down and go ahead, take a fold here. Give yourself a little relief, a little recovery and break into that lower back. Soften that lower back here, allowing the muscles that wrap around your vertebrae to be soft. Allow your arms to fall. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can grab onto the back of your thighs and just kind of float in a loose cannonball. Whatever feels good, wiggle out your toes, circle out your ankles. Take a big inhale and exhale. Maybe bicycle out those knees a little bit, get a little extra deep tissue massage before we go ahead and walk forward all the way to front belt tension, ground those feet. Slowly start to lift, cat back up. Release that hammock from the front of your body here. And let's go ahead, walk to the back side of the hammock. We're going to start with our squat series now. And with our squat series, we have incorporated now our exercises on flat foot and on our heels. Before we get started, one more time, I will remind you of the proper activations that you want to have here in the form. We want to make sure that no booties are sticking out. We don't have an extended tailbone. We're tucking that tailbone in, instantly engaging those glutes. It might not look too pretty, but it doesn't matter. We're really building muscle here. So take that booty, tuck it in, Draw the belly into spine, really engaging that 360 core. You want to keep this position in activation in here. Draw your shoulders back and down too. Keep a nice straight spine. We don't want to overextend. We want a nice neutral straight spine, especially with our arms reaching out. Here's where we were saying we can keep an activation in the upper body as well. So when we go into the hammock, and I will talk about this when we're there, or give a quick lead into how to get into this. We can use the hammock as well to get a nice activation and build some muscle here through our shoulders and our upper back. So we want to keep our body nice and straight, tucking it in, and as we lower, we want to keep those knees out nice and wide to the side, tucking that tailbone and keeping that toaster analogy. So your body is like a piece of toast going in, right? And then as we come up, we don't just come up, even though it's a lot easier and sometimes we want to after the ends of these series. We're going to go ahead and keep that activation and press up like you have weights pulling you down towards the ground, and you have to use all of your might to get past that resistance. We're going to use all of our muscles here for every single motion we do in this time. Standing behind the hammock here, we're going to separate our feet nice and wide. So take from center, a big step out to the right, and a big step out to the left. Go ahead and turn your toes out here so that your heels are in, toes facing out. We're going to start off, with our flat foot, our everything on flat foot, and we're going to actually alternate today. So like I said, we're going to be focusing on reps of 10. We're going to begin by going into our up and down, just doing a full set of 10 up and down. So we do want to make sure when we go down, we're using all of those muscles, again, nice, slow, and controlled, bringing them back up, not popping up, rather pulling ourselves up here. And we're going to go into 10 of those. After that, we're going to immediately drop back down into our demi, and we're going to pulse here for 5. We'll hold for 5, pulse for 5, and hold for 5. From this point, we're going to lower it down into our full, and we're going to go immediately into our up and downs for 10. Bring it right back down into full, pulse for 5, hold for 5, pulse, hold, and we'll be done with our flat foot set. Okay, so we're not going to stop in the middle of this. We're going to go ahead, start, and keep going until we are done with these sets. Go ahead and extend your arms forward here. Make sure the body is nice and straight. Opening up those arms nice and wide. Open up the palms, thumbs on the bottom side, palms on the top side. Press down and away in your hammock here. Roll your shoulders back and down. By pressing away, you have that nice little engagement through your arms and shoulders and back. We're going to go ahead and make sure those toes are pointed out. And on the count of 3, we're going to start with our demis up and down for 10. 3, 2, 1. Let's lower and up. 2, 3, 4. I'll count. Lower. 2, 3, 4, and up. 2, 3, 4. Down and up, down and up. For 5, keep those knees back, up. 4, make sure that tailbone is tucked and you have a nice solid engagement here through that core. For 3, 2, squeeze as you press up. 1, and squeeze as you press up, bring it back down to demi. Let's pulse for 5. Nice small isometric movements. 4, use the glutes and the top of the thighs. 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold here in our demi, knees back, tuck the tailbone. Quads are engaged, glutes are engaged, lower core is engaged. 3, 2, 1. Let's pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower to your full squat here. Press it up. 2, 3, 4. Lower. 2, 3, 4. Up. 2, 3, 4. Lower. 2, 3, 4. 7. Up and down. Squeeze it up for 6, knees out, tuck the tailbone. Bring it up for 4, Bring it all the way down and up. Squeeze those glutes and down for 3. Down. 2. Down. Last 1 and down. Now from here, we're going to do our pulses. Knees back, tuck the tailbone, core is engaged. Quads should start to feel firing up now for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it last time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press it up. Shake it out. Toe heel those feet in. We're going to go now into our same set on high heels. I know sometimes, especially starting off on our flat foot, those can feel like they're a slow start. But by the end, we definitely start to feel them through our quads, and we should start to be feeling that engagement and that jello through our booties too. So let's go ahead now. Big step out from center. Toes pointed out. We're going to go ahead now and lift our heels, extend our arms, palms flat, thumbs on the bottom side. Roll the shoulders back and down. Tuck that tailbone here. Press down and away in your hammock here, creating that bar. We're going to go ahead and lower into our demi. And from here, we're gonna lower into our demi. Keep those heels up nice and high. We're gonna press up and lower. 2, 3, 4. Press up. 2, 3, 4. Lower. 2, 3, 4. Up. Press and lower. Press it up for 5. Up. 4. Knees back. Bring it down for 3. Up. Squeeze the glutes. Lower for 2. And up. 1 more. Bring it back up. And lower it into your demi. We're going to pulse from here for 5, 4. Keep those heels up. 2, 1. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lower into your full and press up and lower for 9 and up. 8. Remember, we're pressing and squeezing up. We're here. Give 110% while you're here. Squeeze it up for 6. Lower. 5. Squeeze. Let's lower. Bring those thighs as parallel to the mat or ground as you can. Bring it down for 3. I think it's 3. 2. Squeeze. And 1. Bring it back up before we come down. We're almost there, you guys. Bring it back down to full squat. From here, we pulse. Tuck that tailbone. Bring those knees back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm right here with you. Hold. Lower those thighs for 3. Feel the shake. 2. That means change is happening. 1. Pulse. Last set. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the heels. Press up. Shake it out. Toe heel back in. You can fold over your hammock here for a moment, or you can just lean back into your hammock, whatever feels good. If you want to bicycle out your legs, or just catch your breath, grab a sip of water or two before we go into our bridge series. I'm right there with you, creating that change, you guys. It's all So very good. So we're gonna hop up into our hammock here. And if you're still getting some water, take your time. You can meet us here. We're going to just do a little deep tissue massage while we sit in our swing. So as a reminder, we're gonna have a rope swing here. It's gonna be here right below the bum cheek crease, or in the bum cheek crease at the top of the thighs. And you're gonna hold onto the hammock here. Maybe, came up a little bit, maybe about a foot above. Sorry if that was loud. Just extending the arms here for now, straight above the head. We're gonna draw the feet in together, point those toes down towards the ground, and keep a nice big bend in the knees here. So we don't want sloppy legs. We wanna have just a little light engagement here, keeping us in a seated position. Using the hands here nice and tight on the hammock, but to where you can glide down, we're gonna slowly start to drop that tailbone straight down towards the ground, allowing the hammock to catch at the back of the knees. Remember, we're pointing those toes down towards the ground. Squeeze those heels in towards your bum, and you're gonna tug up and drawbridge up as you press your toes down towards the ground, allowing that hammock to glide up the thighs to the top of the thighs here. I don't know if you feel a difference from week 1 or 2 of doing this. Maybe we have more of a bumpy road the first couple weeks, but you should notice that this is a little bit smoother as we start to get used to doing these little deep tissue massages, because we've worked out some of that build up here, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do that again. We're gonna drop the tailbone nice and heavy, keep the heels pinched into the bum, and now start to press down. Doing that one more time, just like that. Drop the tailbone, tug up, press the toes down. Now keep the toes together, so the heels out wide for a pigeon-toed position, keeping the knees together and bent. We're gonna drop the tailbone once again, pressing the feet down, keeping those toes together and heels out. You'll get more of that side here on the side of your thighs. Tugging up, press down. Now heels in, toes out nice and wide. Same thing, bending the knees, dropping the tailbone, pressing up and away or down. Here we go, one more time. Now from here, reach up high. Charlie Chaplin or Mary Poppins those feet. We're gonna, or you don't have to actually at this point, we're gonna drop the tailbone, hammock comes to the back of the knees. And here we're going to see if we have enough core engagement to hold ourselves in a possum, awesome possum position. So tightening up that core nice and tight, full 360 activation throughout our abdomen. We want to reach out with both hands, arms reaching forward and parallel to the ground, slowly lowering the shoulder blades to the mat. If we are still unable to do this, no problem at all. Grab onto the back of the thighs here, holding on nice and tight. You can release one arm here, still keeping that core nice and engaged. Now you can loosen that arm hold maybe a little bit behind the thighs and allow your core to bring you down. Either way, let's find our shoulder blades rested on the mat or on the ground below us here. Nice and glued to the ground, arms out wide, palms facing down. We're gonna go ahead and Charlie Chaplin our feet here, heels together, toes out, extend those legs, and slowly start to lower one vertebrae at a time, lowering your spine down to the mat here. You wanna make sure that our hip bones are grounded into the mat as well. You should feel your full spine. Remember, each of the vertebrae here in the spine, you want them imprinted on the ground below you. So in order to achieve that, we're gonna drop our pelvic floor as well. Take a big breath in, filling up the lungs, filling up the belly, feeling that belly rise, feeling that lower back arch even. As you exhale, blowing out those birthday candles, like you have 100 of them on the cake, because that's how old we're at least going to be living doing aerial, right? At least 100, 101, 110, just like the percentage we're giving. Another big breath in. We're gonna do that one more time. Exhale, blow it all out. You should feel that pelvic floor drop, and now you should feel all of your spine imprinted onto the ground below you. Once again, if they're not already, arms reached out, palms flat. We're going to go into our bridge pose here. Once again, we're doing counts of 10 or reps of 10. So we're going to go up and down into our bridge position, down to the floor, picking up the speed, a little bit more fluidity today. We're going to do more of a 2 count. So we want our hips to barely touch the ground as we lower and then bring it back up. We do not want to lose any engagement though. So we're not flinging our body up in these erratic ways. Instead, we're still using full control here in our body. We're lifting with our glutes, the tops of the back of our thighs, the tops of our quads, our lower core, all the way around 360 degrees around that lower core here. Full engagement. We're taking away that engagement of the shins and the calves more, and we're bringing it into the tops of the thighs, glutes here, okay? So once again, no engagement will be lost, but we want to pick up the speed. We're going to do a 10 count of our bridge up and down. Then we're going to bring it back up after our 10 set, holding in our bridge pose. We're going to pulse here 5, hold for 5, pulse for 5, and hold for 5. Straight from there, we're going to lower it back down and kiss the ground as we bring it right back up into our 10 count of high bridge. Up and down, we'll bring it up, and same thing, we're going to do a 5 count pulse, and hold in our high bridge. From there, we'll come down to recover for just a couple breaths, bring it back up into bridge, and do a 10 count of our frogs. So we're going to bring them in and out for our frog position as well. We're going to do a pulse for 5, hold for 5, same thing, pulse and hold. Okay, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and start. Arms out to the side, shoulder blades are melted, shoulders are melted into the ground, and at this point all of our spine is. Take a big breath in, and on the count of 3 we'll go ahead and get started. 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it up and down. Kiss it up and down. Bring it up and down for 6. Bring it down, and 5. 4, don't lose that engagement. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down and up to your bridge. Nice tight engagement. Let's pulse for 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, squeezing and engaging those glutes as tight as you can. Side glute, top glute, bottom of the glute, all the way around the core here. Quads are engaged for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Kiss the ground, bring it up for high bridge. All the way through bridge, bring those hips up nice and high, squeeze the glutes and bring it down. Kiss the ground, bring it up, squeeze and down. Bring it up, squeeze and down. 7, bring it up, squeeze, down. Up for 5, squeeze and down. Bring it up, squeeze. 4, up, squeeze. 3, bring it up, squeeze. 2, last one, all the way up, squeeze it and down. Bring it back up all the way to high bridge. Nice strong engagement. Squeeze those glutes from here. Let's pulse up using the glutes and thighs, not the shins and calves, for 5, 4. No movement in the hammock should be had here. 2, 1. Squeeze and hold up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Squeeze. Drive those hips up as high as you can. Higher, higher, higher for 5, 4. Ground those shoulders into the ground. Hips up high. 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower. 1 vertebrae, one at a time, down to the mat. Take a breath in here. I'm going to give you a quick reminder before we get started on our frogs. When we do our frogs, we're starting from a bridge position. When you bring those knees in, you're drawing your knees in and your legs in like you have the most resistance pulling against you here. Keeping those toes out wide, heels together. Knees are going to bend out nice and wide
As those knees come in, you're pressing them down. You're pushing those hips up with the side glutes and thighs here. Hip bones drive up towards the ceiling, and you keep that nice strong high bridge with your frog pose and press those heels out like you're pushing through the thickest quicksand you have ever thought of in your world. So we'll do 10, a count of 10 from there. And then after that, 5, pulse, hold, pulse, hold. On the count of 3, 2, 1, draw it up to bridge. Frog in. Knees down, hips up, press out. That's 1, bring it in. Knees down, hips up, press out. In, knees down, hips up, press out. For 7, in, knees down, hips up, press out. For 6, bring it in. Knees down, hips up, press out. For 5, and in. Knees down, hips up, press out. Come in. Knees down, press up, hips or feet out. Bracket in for 4. Knees down, hips up, press out. Sorry, that was 3. This is 2. Knees down, hips up, press out. One more full set. Knees down, hips up, press out. From here, come back in to your bridge or to your frog. Keep those knees pressed down, hips press up. From here, we pulse. 5, no movement in the hammock. All with your glutes and thighs. 3, 2, 1, squeeze hips up, knees down, hold 5. 4, 3, keep those toes out. 2, 1, last pulse up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, squeeze hips up, knees down for 5. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1, press it out, slow, push, 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 and lower slowly to the mat. From here, we're going to end it out with our bridge series on our single leg ups. So as a quick reminder, when we bring our body up to bridge pose, we'll trap our right foot, release our left foot, toes are pointed and engaged, legs are fully engaged as we bring our hips up to touch our toe to the ceiling. We're going to do a 10 count here. This may get intense. We can do this. This is our last set. From our toe up after that 10 set, we're going to drop our leg parallel, so over the body, and we're going to lift with our hips. So here, if my left leg is drawn over the body parallel to the ground, I'm lifting with that right side glute. We want minimal to no movement in our hammocks as we do these exercises. So heels together, toes out wide, arms out nice and straight to the side, palms down here, shoulders are glued into the mat. Go ahead and slowly lower all the way up into that bridge pose. Keep that right foot flexed and locked. We're going to release that left foot, point the toes up towards the ceiling, and with the glutes and thighs, hips up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the hips up high. Drop that left leg over, parallel to the mat. Hip up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that left leg in halfway there. Release that right, toes up. Touch the toes up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hips up. Drop that right leg over and hip up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the hips up as you bring that right leg back in. Slowly lower the spine back down. Once your hips are rested on the ground, go ahead and bend the knees, release the feet. You can bring your knees and thighs into chest here, heels into your bum, holding on or wrapping your arms around the front of your shins, hugging your knees into your chest. Go ahead and wiggle out the toes, circle out the ankles. Take some big breaths.
We really kicked up the heat today. Whew. You can stay here for another few breaths, or whenever you are ready, go ahead and ground those feet down to the mat. Reach up with one hand or both hands, grab onto the hammock, and tug yourself up to a seated position. Of course, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I'm gonna go ahead and replace my battery pack, and while you take another couple recovery breaths, move my water over here. And my dear friends, we are coming to the end of class, so let's go ahead, get a nice cool down with our front belt stretches, which will feel nice and yummy here after working on that lower half. Let's go ahead and stand at the back side of the hammock and pressing down into the hammock, lifting both heels off the ground. Let's walk forward to front belt tension, locking that hammock in to your hip flexors here. We're gonna do it a little bit different. I know we kind of did this last week. We'll bring those feet together. Heels are up, but instead of having heels face back for now, we're gonna turn the soles of the feet just a little bit towards one another. Press the heels in together, nice and tight. So with the heels up, and as you press those heels in, you should feel now a firing up or an engagement all the way up the back of your heels, calves through the hamstrings, back of the knees, all the way back up the top of the hamstrings here to the glutes. We want to keep that nice tight engagement as we lower. Arms reaching out to the side, roll the shoulders back and down so we're not at a full 45-degree angle or 90-degree angle. We're going to bring the chest up, chest forward, roll the shoulders back. Take a big breath in here, fill up the chest, fill up the belly. As you exhale, slowly lower, keeping that core nice and tight, keeping those heels pressed together. Slowly lower and find the ground with your fingertips tented. We're gonna now turn the heels back to the room behind us and just pedal here a couple times at front tension. Nice and slow. Bend one knee, drop the other heel. Bend the opposite knee, drop that heel, get into your breath here. Inhale as you drop a heel. Exhale as you roll forward. Now here, coming high up both heels, let's take a big step back so that your feet should be under your center point, keeping those fingertips still nice tall or nice high and tented off of the mat here. We're gonna now pedal out a little bit harder. So we're gonna push away from our fingertips and drop each heel, using that rocking motion to really press down each heel a little bit harder into the ground or mat. Keep the crown of the head nice and heavy so that we're looking at our knees here. And as you drop a heel to the mat and imprint it, really push that tailbone to the room behind you here, getting a nice extra stretch through the bottom or the backs of your hamstrings rather. One more time to both sides wherever you're at. Inhale, exhale, and on the next inhale, go ahead and drop both heels if you can here. Try to keep both knees extended. If not, and you have a slight bend in the knees, no problem, but try to challenge yourself here. Roll forward with those bent knees. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, extend those knees and push the heels down for a moment. Bend the knees, rock forward. Inhale. Exhale, push the heels down, push the tailbone back. Bend the knees, roll forward. We'll try that one more time here. Push those heels down, keep the knees extended, and press the tailbone back. Wherever you're at here now, roll forward. High five the hammock, or don't high five the hammock, high five the mat with both hands. Lift your toes and come into your floated position here. Palms are glued to the ground here. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just do dead legs. So what I mean by that is we're allowing our legs to just be soft. So from the hips or hip bones down, we have no activation here in our legs. They're nice and loosey-goosey. You can drop the crown of your head here unless you're trying to look at me. You wanna keep those arms extended, palms flat, but either way we have nice deactivated, completely unactivated, loosey-goosey legs here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our hands to just sway right to left and allow those non-activated legs to just sway right to left. You want the weight of your body and gravity as you sway right to left to start to allow the momentum and the swing to get bigger and allow your body or your hips to press into that hammock here as you sway right to left. Nice passive stretch here or not just stretch necessarily, but a nice passive deep tissue massage here in the psoas. Now we're going to slowly come back to center. And we're going to go ahead now and lengthen those, or straighten those legs. We're going to lengthen them so that we have our toes just touching the ground here. And now bring your feet together, bend the knees out wide, and draw your heels into pinch towards your tailbone or your glutes here. Keep the crown of the head heavy and just sway right to left in your wishbone. Keep those knees out nice and wide. Now here, allow your heels, if they're not already, to release from one another and press your toes or the balls of your feet into each other. Pressing them in, keeping those knees out nice and wide. You should feel this here now even more in the psoas. We're going to come to stillness. Now bring those knees tight together and squeeze them into your chest and send those toes out nice and wide. Do your best to draw them as far away from each other as you can. Now try to draw those knees back in towards your body and use your hands to sway right to left here. So we have those knees pressing in to each other, feet out nice and wide, and we're squeezing our knees in towards our chest or belly. So you should really feel this on the sides. Another breath in as you sway right to left, and as you exhale, slowly come back to center, and we're going to switch. Press those toes in and send those knees out wide. Now switching once again, squeeze those knees in, send those toes out nice and wide. We're going to do 5 of those pretty quickly in fluid motion, switching from wishbone to dovetail. On the count of 3, 2, 1, wishbone, dovetail. Wishbone, dovetail. Knees out wide, toes out wide. For 3, I know I added an extra one. 2, and 1. Dropping those toes back to the ground here. We're going to allow ourselves to slowly walk back forward to front belt tension. Grounding our feet into the mat. Walk your hands up your legs to the top of your thighs and ground your palms into the ground, keeping here in a neutral fold. Nose down towards the mat. Take a breath. As you exhale here, go ahead and drop your tailbone, so to release that hammock from your hip bones. Cat back all the way up by stacking each vertebrae from your hip bones all the way up, one at a time. Coming through your shoulder blades, roll your shoulders back and down. Throw the hammock behind you. Let's step forward. I'm going to do a little grounding stretch to say goodbye to you this evening. So what we're going to do is send our feet out nice and wide. Roll the shoulders back and down. Nice straight spine. Reach your arms out wide to both sides. Chin up. Gaze up. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, I want you to bend your knees, bend at the hips, fall forward here. We're folding our body. Let the arms just rest here. And we're going to sway right to left. Allowing the ankles to circle out, we're really just opening up our joints here. Opening up the balls and sockets of our hips. Allow those to just loosey-goosey sway right to left. Allow the knees to sway and turn and circle. Wrists circle out. Shoulders are nice and soft. Coming back slowly to a stillness. Keeping those feet grounded nice and heavy into the ground. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let's extend up through our ankles, through our knees, up through our thighs and our hips. Once again, dropping that tailbone, stacking each and every vertebrae one at a time. As you come up through your shoulder blades, roll your shoulders back and down. Extend your arms out to the side. Chin up, chest up now. With the next breath in, slowly start to reach those hands up tall to the ceiling, reaching those fingertips through the roof, towards the moon or the sun, the clouds, wherever you're at, whatever it looks like. Reach those fingertips up towards the sky. Take a big breath in, extending all the way through the spine. As you exhale, bring your palms together in prayer. Bend at the knees, fold at the hips, and we're going to fold for our final bow. I appreciate you all for spending time with me and being here each week through the series. As always, if you have questions, please reach out to me. I love your feedback. I will be posting this here soon. And I hope you're doing well. Take care.